Hey guys, welcome back to CA Dreams YouTube channel, and this is the lecture number 5D in English, and the lecture number 5D in Holi in Hindi is already uploaded on the channel. You may check the last video. So this video will be in English only, and my South Indian viewers, I have uploaded the chapter number 4 of audit. First three videos are wholly in English, and from the third or fourth video, what I have done is I have uploaded half of the video in Hindi and half of the video in English. Okay, first I have explained the topics in Hindi, then I have explained the same topics in English. So you must go and check the videos. There is a separate playlist for this chapter number 4, and please do share the videos with your friends if you are getting benefited out of it. So we were discussing about the components of internal control, and we have already discussed the first two components. Now we are going to discuss the remaining components of internal control. So we are going to start with component number C, that is the information system, including the related business processes relevant to financial reporting and communication. So students, you might have learned this term in EIS. What is information system? So information system includes all that like your data, people, network, all that is required in your business, in your automated business, right? So all this combines up your information system. Now this information system basically has 5 components which you have already learned in EIS, that were your hardware, software, data, people and network. Okay, so along with that we have to also include the related business processes that are related to financial reporting and communication. So while we are discussing about the components of internal control, along with these 5 components we also have to add the related business processes. Okay, the business processes that are relevant to financial reporting and communication purpose. These components also these major information system, the information system will also include those business processes which are relevant to financial reporting and communication. Okay, so the auditor basically has to have the understanding of these information system and the relevant business processes. So the auditor shall obtain an understanding of the information system, including the related business process relevant to the financial reporting. Now how will he take the understanding? Okay, if you want to check that whether the control is working properly or not, so first you have to take the understanding of the whole system. Okay, so through IT, through computers, through this all information system like your hardware, data, people, what is the company doing? What is the entity doing? Entity is implementing the control, entity is working. Okay, so first you have to know the working of the system. First you have to take the understanding that how these controls are being implemented and what is the functioning going by these components. So these are the following points which will help you know that how will the auditor have an understanding of the information system and the relevant business processes. Okay, so the classes of transactions and the entities operation that are significant to financial reporting. Now as I've already told you that there is an inherent limitation, that is the auditor has a limited time, and he also has to consider a reasonable cost. Okay, he cannot you can say he cannot increase the cost. He has to do a lot of work in a limited time, so that is why he is considered with only the material business statement, and he is only interested in the significant matters. Okay, so the auditor will take the understanding, will take the you can say the understanding of the transactions that are going on in the business process which are only significant to the financial statements. Okay, so there are various number of transactions going in the entity, but the auditor is considered with only those classes of transactions that are significant for the financial systems. Okay, so the transactions can happen like if any transaction happens, suppose for example any purchase happen. Okay, so there will be people included in that, right? There will be a network included in that. So what will the auditor do? Auditor will have the proper understanding that how is the network being implemented, means what is the process going on in that network, and what are the other business processes that are going on with these significant classes of transactions. Okay, so in this we are talking about significant classes of transactions, and the auditor is expected to take the understanding of the significant classes of transactions that are significant for the financial statements. Then your next point is the procedure by which those transactions are initiated, recorded, processed, correct as necessary, and transferred to general ledger and reporting in the financial systems. Now you have first of all what you have done is you have just sorted that what are the significant classes of transactions for your judgment, means you as an auditor, what is significant for you in terms of financial statements. Okay, now what you have to consider, now you have to check that what are the procedures going on with us with those transactions, like how those transactions are being initiated, recorded, processed, corrected as necessary, and how they are transferred to general ledger. Okay, so if you will find that there is any deficiency or the system could be much better, then what you will do, you will just note down that what all points are missing in this. Okay, and in this way you will be able to conclude that whether the control is working properly or not. Then your third point is the related accounting records, supporting information and specific accounts in the financial statements that are used to initiate, record, process and report transactions. So this is also the point related to the first point only, that what are the other related accounting records, or you can see the supporting information that the entity is supposed to maintain. Okay, and how the entity maintains it, what are the specific accounts, then how they are used to initiate, record and process and report the transactions. So the auditor is supposed to check the supporting information and the way it is initiated and recorded. Then your fourth point is how the information system captures events and conditions that are significant to the financial statements. Now the auditor has to take the understanding of the information system. Then they are talking about in the first 3 points, first of all they were talking about significant classes of transactions, then they were talking about procedures, and then they were talking about supporting information. Okay, then in the fourth point they are saying about information system. Okay, now in fifth point what they are talking about, the financial reporting process, that was this business process relevant to the financial reporting. So the auditor is expected to take the understanding of the business processes also. So the financial reporting process used to prepare the entity's financial statements. So the auditor has to take a very deep analysis, a deep understanding of this process also. Then the controls that are surrounding the general entries. So if the auditor finds any deficiency, then he has to do a deep analysis, he has to do a further analysis, and if he will find that there is any deficiency, then he will report it. Okay, I hope I'm clear. Now they have given a box and they have written communicating financial roles and responsibilities, obtaining an understanding by the auditor. So the auditor shall obtain an understanding of how the entity communicates financial reporting. Now this was about the understanding about the information system and business processes. Now next point they are talking about, the auditor shall have an understanding of how the entity communicates financial reporting roles and responsibilities. So what is the basic communication process of the entity, and what are the roles and responsibilities of the entity. So the auditor has to take understanding of the same. So communication between management and TCWG, and external communications such as those with the regulatory authority. Now you have to communicate the financial reporting with basically they are talking about two authorities. First is your TCWG, and then they are talking about external communications with the other regulatory authorities. So the following points need to be considered when you have to take the understanding of the auditor's role, the entity's roles of and responsibilities, and the entity's communication process. So this understanding is also be done by the auditor only. So understanding of roles and responsibilities, communication by which the entity of the financial reporting roles and responsibilities would involve providing an understanding of the individual roles and responsibilities pertaining to internal control over financial reporting. So that means first of all they are talking about roles and responsibility. So what is the responsibility of the management, what is the responsibility of the higher authority of the entity? To maintain internal controls in order to lower the risk of material misstatement, basically in the financial statements, right? So they are just talking about that the auditor should have a proper understanding that whether the management has fulfilled its roles and responsibilities. Okay, so they are just talking about this. Then the next point is understanding regarding relation of activities. So it involves understanding by employees as to how their activities relate to the work of others and the means of reporting exceptions to higher level within the entity. Now next they are talking about the responsibility of the employees. So as a part of the organization, it is the duty of the employees that if they find any deficiency or if they find any exceptional case, they have to report it to their higher authority. So first, the auditor has to take the understanding of the management. Then they are talking about the auditor has to take the understanding of the roles and responsibilities of the employees. So if there is any exception, so whether they have reported it within the entity or not. Then third point is policy manuals and financial reporting manuals. So communication may take such forms as policy manuals and financial reporting manuals. So the auditor will check that whether these policy manuals and financial reporting manuals are being maintained by the entity or not. Then open communication channels, whether there is open communication channel in the entity or not, to ensure that they were talking about this second point, that if the employees find that there is any deficiency or there is an exceptional case, they should report it. Now if there will be no communication channel, then how will they communicate? So the auditor has to ensure that whether the entity has a proper open communication channel or not. Then they are saying less structured and easier for small entities. So communication may be less structured and easier to achieve in a small entity, because the people in a small entity will be less, so the owner can alone manage the whole entity, right? So they are saying that it is more easy in small entities than in large entity due to fewer level of responsibility and manage a greater visibility. And this and is nothing, they have not given anything after this. So they are just saying this, that because the size of the small entity is small, so that is why the owner, or you can say the management, both are same only, so they can have a proper communication and they can have a proper look on the whole entity. So this is all about what is the understanding that the auditor is expected to have about the information system and related processes, business processes. And then in this point they have they're talking about that what are the communication responsibilities or the communication understanding. Okay, the understanding of the communication by the management. So this all understanding the auditor has to take. Now let's come on to the next component, that is your control activities, components of internal control. So now we will study about control activities. So we have till yet discussed three components, and these were your where is it? We have discussed about the control environment, entities, risk assessment process, and then we have discussed about the information system and related business process. So this all comes under your this all is influenced by your control environment only. Okay, so this component influences all the other four components also. Now we have to study the control activities, and then we will study about the monitoring of controls, and then this topic will be over. So let's come on to the fourth component. So the auditor shall obtain an understanding of the control activities relevant to the audit, which the auditor considers necessary to assess the risk of material misstatement. So they are just saying that auditor has to take the proper understanding of the controls that are being implemented to lower the risk of material misstatement. Now an audit requires an understanding of only those control activities relevant to significant classes of transactions, account balances and disclosures in the financial statement, and the assertions which the auditor finds relevant in his risk assessment process. Now as I have already told you, because the auditor has a limited time, he has to also consider about the reasonable cost. So therefore he is considered only about the significant classes of transactions and account balances that discloses, and he is considered only with those matters which is fine significant for his purpose. Okay, he is not considered with the remaining. We have also discussed about the controls relevant to the audit. So the auditor is considered with only the controls that are relevant to audit. Similarly, the auditor is considered with only the matters that he finds significant. Okay, he is not considered with the other matters or the other assertions. Now control activities are the policies. Now what are control activities? So these are the policies and procedures that help ensure that management directives are carried out. So that means that the management, in the way the management has implemented, in the way the management has designed the internal control system, in that way only it is being implemented. So the control activities are those policies and procedures that help to ensure that the way the internal control was designed, it is being implemented in the same way. So control activities, whether within the IT or manual systems, have various objectives and are applied at various organizational and functional level. Now you all know that control is required at every level of the entity. So they are saying whether it is IT, means automated, or whether it is manual, these have various objectives and are applied at various levels of the entity. So I guess you don't have any difficulty till here. Now let's discuss about the they have just given some examples of specific control activities. So they are saying that authorization is a control activity, then segregation of duty is a control activity, physical control. So these all are examples of control activities. Now they are saying that control activities that are relevant to the audit are control activities that relate to significant risk, and those that relate to risk for which substantive procedure alone do not provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So you all know that first the auditor has to do risk assessment procedure, then he has to do further audit procedure. Now further audit procedure is further categorized into two categories. One is your test of controls and second is your substantive procedure, and substantive procedure also has further two categories, that are your test of details and substantive analytical procedure. So they are saying that the auditor has to check only those activities, first of all, in which that relate to significant risk. Then second point, those which the auditor finds that by doing only the substantive procedure, the auditor cannot obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, or the auditor cannot reach to a proper opinion. So if he finds that by doing only the substantive procedure in the further audit procedure, he is not able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, then what he will do, he will move on to the next category, that is your test of controls. Okay, so when will the auditor check the control activities? When he finds that that control is related to significant risk. Then second point, if he finds that substantive procedure alone do not provide a sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. And then third, those that are considered to be relevant in the judgment of the auditor. That means those controls which we find relevant as per his professional judgment. Now, as part of the risk assessment, the auditor shall determine whether any of the risk identified are in the auditor's judgment a significant risk. Now again they are saying about that during the risk assessment procedure also, the auditor is basically considered about the risks that are more significant. Okay, means that are more material. Now they have given some points that while exercising professional judgment, what all points the auditor should consider, and according to that he should check the control activities. So they are saying that in exercising the judgment as to which the risk are significant risk, the auditor shall consider at least of the following. That means if he finds any of these points, he should check the appropriate controls over them. Okay, so whether the risk is of a risk of a fraud. So if the auditor is finding that the risk is of a fraud, then the auditor should check the controls. Then second point, whether the risk is related to recent significant economic and other development like changes in regulatory requirement, or if there is any material change, okay, like the changes they have mentioned. So if he finds that there is any risk in this, he should check them. Then third is if he finds that the transactions are complex, then whether the risk involves significant transactions with related parties. Okay, so if he because it is expected that with the related parties there is a high risk of material misstatement, or there is a high risk that a fraud can occur. So therefore if the risk is involved in a related party, then that risk should be considered as a significant risk by the auditor. Then they are saying about the degree of subjectivity in the measurement. Means subjective and objective, the two terms are that objective is, you can say, same for all. Okay, if the decision is objective, or if the conclusion is objective, you can say that because the decision is objective, so if you will call any of the person, he will give the same decision. But if the decision is subjective, okay, so that means every person according to his understanding and his judgment will give different opinions on that. So if they are saying that if the degree of subjectivity in the measurement of financial reporting relating to the risk, especially those measurements involving a wide range of measurement uncertainty, that means if there is a high degree of subjectivity or a high degree of uncertainty, then the auditor should consider those risks as significant risk. Then whether the risk involves significant transactions that are outside the normal course of business, and if the auditor is finding that some of the transactions are outside the course of business, or they appear to be unusual, then he should check those controls. He should check the controls over those risks, or he should consider those risks as significant risk. Okay, so this was about the professional judgment. The second point that they have given, those are relevant in the judgment of auditor. So how will he check that whether it is relevant or not? He should consider at least of the following. Now they are saying how will you identify that which risk is more significant and which risk is less significant. So significant risk often relate to significant non-routine transactions and judgmental matters. Okay, Now, non-routine transactions. What are non-routine transactions? That do not happen in the daily routine. So non-routine transactions are transactions that are unusual due to either size or nature, and therefore occur infrequently, means they do not occur frequently. These are non-routine transactions. And what are judgmental matters? Judgmental matters are those matters which include the development of accounting estimates for which there is a significant measurement uncertainty. So judgmental matters are those only which have a high degree of subjectivity. Okay, so they are saying significant risks are those risks which are related to both of these judgmental matters and non-routine transactions. Now they are saying significant risk are inherent risk with both a high likelihood, and if the significant risk will occur, then they will result in a potential misstatement, right? So therefore the auditor assesses assertions affected by a significant risk as higher inherent risk. So the following are always significant risk. So when the auditor will identify the risk, he should consider that whether it is a non-routine transactions or a judgmental matter. Okay, if it is a judgmental matter or a non-routine transactions, then what he will consider that this risk is more significant. Now the following are always significant risks, that the risk which are related to fraud and with the risk with the related party, they are always the significant risk, because there is a high degree of potential misstatement if these risks occur. Okay, if these misstatement occurs, so there will be a huge loss to the entity. So therefore the auditor should consider at least of these two risks as significant risk. Now they are saying that okay, a significant risk is okay, but what if means they are saying that what are the greater for significant non-routine transactions. Now see, they are saying that significant risk are in two categories: non-routine transactions and judgmental matters. Now, are all non-routine transactions significant risk, or all judgmental matters are significant risk? No, some of the risk they have given, so they are greater, like there are a number of significant risk. Okay, there are a number of non-routine transactions. Now till here the significant risk is not that much, but from here the significant risk is increasing. So they are just saying that how will the auditor identify that whether it is more significant or whether it is less significant. So they are saying risk of material misstatement may be greater for the significant non-routine transactions arising from matters such as, so this is basically the diversification of the above. Okay, the above lines, they have just diversified the above lines, these lines they have just diversified. Okay, so the risk where there is a greater management intervention, or where there is a greater manual intervention, where the complexity of calculations is greater, or where the nature of non-routine transactions which may make it difficult for the entity to implement effective control. So all these risks will be more significant, all these non-routine transactions will be considered more significant. Now let's move on to the next category, that what are the significant judgmental risks that have a greater significant risk, and what are the judgmental matters. Okay, so risk of material misstatement may be greater for significant judgmental matters that require the development of accounting estimates arising from matters such as, now where accounting principles for accounting estimates is given another result, and revenue recognition is giving another result, like they are, if they are differing in their interpretation, then the risk for judgmental matters will be more significant. Then they are saying required judgment may be subjective or complex, or required assumptions, then there will be a more significant risk. So by saying more significant and less significant is that you will give a priority to the more significant risk, and after you will check the controls over those risks, then you will come to the other risk and you will check the other controls of other risk. Okay, so I hope I am clear till here. Now your last component is left, and that is your monitoring of internal control. Monitoring of control. The auditor shall obtain an understanding of the major activities that the entity uses to monitor the internal control. So till yet we have discussed that what the auditor has to take the understanding that whether the entity has done the wait, let me take you to that chart, that whether the entity has a proper control environment, then the whether the entity has a proper risk assessment process. Then the auditor has to take the understanding of the information system and business processes, and then the auditor has to take the understanding of the control activities. Then they are saying that the auditor should also has to take the understanding that whether the entity has made any system of monitoring the controls they have implemented or they have designed. Okay, because what happens is that whenever you put any control, like say for example your study plan only, okay, you make a study plan for 1 month. Now what happens is in the initial days, like your in the starting of 3 or 4 days or 5 days, what happens is the plan is very effective and you follow it very strictly. But from the 5th day or 6th day, you need any external motivation to follow that plan, or what happens is you are not able to achieve your targets. So in the same way, it is necessary for the entity also that they have designed the controls, they have implemented the controls, they are working efficiently in the starting, but whether the controls are working effectively throughout the procedure, throughout the working, so all this they have to monitor. So the auditor has to check that whether the entity has made any monitoring process, has made any monitoring system to check their controls, that whether they are going on properly or not. So this all you have to discuss. We have to discuss in this concept. So monitoring of controls is a process to assess the effectiveness of internal control performance over time. Okay, now helps in assessing the effectiveness of controls on a timely basis, and if they are finding any deficiency, they have to take the remedial actions for the same. Now management accomplishes through ongoing activities separate evaluations. Management accomplishes the monitoring of controls through ongoing activities. Now how do they monitor? They can either monitor through ongoing activities or they can do separate evaluations. Okay, so when they are doing the monitoring with ongoing activities, so ongoing monitoring activities are often built onto the normal recurring activities, and they also include regular management and supervisory activities also. Okay, so you can do the monitoring by 2 ways, means the entity can do monitoring by 2 ways, either with the ongoing activities only, or either they can do it with the separate evaluation. Management's monitoring activity includes using information from communications from external party. Now how will they monitor? They may also communicate to external party like customer complaints or regulatory comments, regular comments that may indicate problems. And if they are finding that whether their customer is that customer facing any problem, like you can see the various companies like Flipkart, Amazon, they all have a feedback form. Okay, so in this way they are able to monitor that whether their controls are being affected or not. So if they are finding that the number of complaints are increasing day by day, so that means they are lacking some other way, in some other way, so they will take the remedial actions for the same. So in this way the monitoring of control happens. Now in the same way, if the size of the entity is small, then the monitoring will be more easy. So they are just saying about this. Now monitoring of controls if the entity has an internal audit function. Now internal audit function is itself the auditing of the entity through their internal auditor. Okay, so there is automatically monitoring done in the internal audit. So do you need any external monitoring of controls in an internal audit function also? So let's study about this. So if the entity has an internal audit function, the auditor shall obtain an understanding of the following: that the internal audit function's responsibility and how the internal audit function fits in the entity's organizational structure. So the auditor has to check this, and the activities performed to be performed by the internal audit function. So the auditor has to take the understanding of both of the points. Now the following merit consideration in this regard: internal audit function relevant to the audit. The entity's internal audit function is likely to be relevant to the audit if its activities are related to entity's financial reporting. So if it is relevant in terms of auditor if it is related to entity's financial reporting, and the auditor has to take the understanding of only those internal audit functions that are relevant for audit purpose. Also, if the auditor expects to use the work of internal auditors to modify the audit procedures to be performed, then when the auditor determines that the internal audit functions is likely to be relevant to the audit. So in all these circumstances, he will check the internal audit function. What was the first? If it is relevant to the financial reporting. Seconds, if the internal auditors means if the auditor uses the work of the internal auditor to modify their process. And third, if SA 610 applies, that means using the work of internal auditor. Okay. Now, third, size and structure of the entity. Now, the objectives of an internal audit function may depend on the size and structure of the entity. Now, internal audit function may include what all is included in the internal audit function: monitoring of internal control, risk management, review. So, all this is included in internal audit function. On the other hand, the responsibilities of internal audit function may be limited to the review of economy, efficiency, and effectiveness of operations, and accordingly may not relate to the entity's financial reporting. So, if it is not related to the entity's financial reporting, the auditor is not considered with that. External auditor's activities on the basis of internal audit activities. So, if the internal audit functions responsibilities are related to entity's financial reporting, the external auditor consideration of the activities performed may include review of internal audit function, audit plan for the period. Now, satisfactory control environment, not an absolute deterrent to fraud. So, in this they have just given that the existence of satisfactory control environment is not a sign. It is a positive factor, but it is not a sign that there will be zero amount of fraud. Okay, so they are saying that there might be some deficiencies, and because of this there might be some hidden fraud which may not be detected. So, all that is given in this. So you may read it and you will have a proper knowledge. Okay, so they are saying that the control environment in itself does not prevent, detect and correct a material misstatement. It may however influence. So they are just saying that while taking the understanding of the control environment, it's not possible that the whole risk of material misstatement will be prevented, detected or corrected. It has some deficiency and therefore it may just influence the auditor's evaluation of the controls, but it cannot completely take the level of fraud to zero. Okay, so I hope that I'm clear to you all, and if you are facing any problem, any doubt, then you must comment and I will try to cover your doubts in the video or through the comment section. I hope I'm able to help you all. So 3 topics are over, and from the next video we will start with topic number 4, topic number 5, and we'll try to complete this chapter as soon as possible. Okay, so ending this video here, and thank you so much.